Good day and welcome to my lecture video. And for this session, we will have a recap about PHP. PHP will be used most of the time in the whole course, so it's pretty much a good idea to have a recap on this programming language. So for the recap, we will discuss about XAMPP, PHP tags, variables, arrays, and objects. So just a little bit of a refresher for us to proceed with CodeIgniter and Laravel. So these two is a framework, a PHP framework that will help you develop rapid applications, and it is being used by popular or big companies nowadays. And maybe we'll discuss about WordPress. So WordPress is another CMS, which stands for Content Management System, and it is a very much popular CMS, and it is widely used all over the world. All right, so to start, remember about our XAMPP. So XAMPP is a local development server, so meaning that yeah, it is not hosted in any domain, so it is hosted in your own computer. And usually when you install it, you will locate it in the C directory and in the XAMPP folder. And XAMPP folder has modules like Apache and MySQL, where Apache is your web server and MySQL is your database. Alright, so for you to start XAMPP, you just need to go to the folder XAMPP and look for the XAMPP control. And this program will basically lets you start your Apache and MySQL and other modules. Since I already run this, so you can just click on start Apache and maybe MySQL. Alright, so with this we can execute or visit our local web server by typing in the URL localhost. There you go. So this usually is the welcome screen of your XAMPP. And if you want to access your folder or your the website that you are working on, so you can just go to the htdocs folder. So htdocs is the public folder where your users or your visitors can access. So like for example, let's create a web app. Let's say enrollment. So for you to access this folder, you just need to change the URL from changing this text to the folder that we have created. There you have it. So as you can see, the folder is currently empty. So if we're going to add files like a text file, let's say test, and when you refresh it, you'll see the file here. So if you click on it, the URL changes. So enrollment/test. So meaning the text file is under the enrollment folder. So if we're going to add some text here, save it and refresh the web browser, then you'll see the content also changes. Alright, so in Apache, there is a certain file or a name of a file that it will automatically execute. So like for example here, as you can see, it shows the content of the folder, which is not recommended, right? For this is your user shouldn't see the content of your website for security purpose. So in Apache, uh, when it sees a certain file like index with the name index, and like for example, since we are using PHP, so we will add an extension file .php. So in Apache, if it sees a certain file with the name index, it automatically executes that file. So right now you see this directory, but if we're going to refresh it, it will, as you can see, it disappear. That is because the index.php was executed. So that's how the Apache web server executes an index file. So if we're going to add here hello, then it will also display the word hello. So next, in PHP it has the PHP tags. So PHP tags are basically where the PHP codes are added, and you can add as many PHP tags as you want. It can be in between text, like for example an HTML header, and let's print world, and on this PHP tag, let's create a statement. Let's say an assignment statement. Let's say x is equals to 1, and if you refresh it, you'll see something like this. And if you're going to check the code for this, or the source, by clicking on the browser and click on page source, you will see that the browser only shows you the HTML code or the text, but it did not entirely shows you the PHP tags or other PHP code such as this. That is because PHP is a server-side scripting language, and all codes are being saved in the web server. So your users doesn't have access on those code, but rather only the output or the return value. As you can see, the return value is this one, only the HTML codes. So be careful if in the future you need when adding comments in HTML, at least it doesn't share or expose sensitive data. Okay, so that's how the PHP works. So it can be added anywhere in your document or in your file as long as it is a pair PHP tags. So it should have an opening and a closing tag. So of course, you need to avoid syntax error or any warning or parse error in the code to avoid breaking your site. So next is we have the variables. So the variables. So in PHP, we need to add a $ before the identifier. So identifier is the name of your variable, and it should start with a $. So if not, you will see something like this. So we'll see a parse error. All right. So another one in PHP, we can. Oh, by the way, again in PHP, it's a loose type language. So meaning you can assign any data type. So let's say we can create $x is equals to true, or $x is equals to, let's say, 2.22. So it is a loose type language, so it doesn't care about data type much. So as you can see here in the line 6, we assigned an integer, but on the 7th line we assigned a boolean value. So let's try to refresh it. So basically nothing happened, or no error shown up. That is because PHP is a loose type language. So you can assign different types or data types on the same variable. And the next, array. So in PHP, you declare array by assigning like this. So let's say z, or arrays, is equals to this one. So in this line, we created an empty array, but also we can do like this. So on the 10th line, we created an empty array, but the problem here is it is supported by older versions. But if you're going to right now, the PHP has the version 8, and the common version right now is 7.4. So I think let's see what version we're using. PHP, sorry, should be in the dashboard of so right now we are using PHP info, so we're using 7.4.27. So so in this page you will see the configurations of your PHP. So there's a lot of configurations here, so maybe later you can explore this and maybe have a look about the configurations. So again, in this approach, we're using the bracket, so it is supported on I think 5.4 and above. So if we're going to use this approach in older version, so you'll be given an error because this approach doesn't support yet. This doesn't support by older version, but both approach are supported by newer versions. So let's try to refresh this. Okay, so arrays, unexpected arrays, in line 11. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add a semicolon before the line. So refresh again, then you'll see that the error has disappeared. So for most for I call that to, so I'd recommend to use the newer approach, which is we use the brackets. So you can assign the value for your array, let's say 1, true, string, and then maybe a float. So as you can see, these arrays in PHP are mixed. you can create arrays with different type values. So let's write a print, let's say arrays, and then the index of the array, so let's say 2. So the output would be the string hello. There you go. And also you can create in PHP an associative arrays. So associative arrays has a string index. So in the first one, it is a numeric array because it uses numbers as index like this, or the address as number. So we're going to put here 0, so meaning the index is number. So it points out to the first element of the array. So if we're going to refresh this, it will display 1. Right, so let's create an associative. So in an associative, you must assign a string index to your element. Let's say name, and then the value is John Doe, and then the let's say age, it's 18. As you can see here, we have here the arrow key, so meaning that this index is assigned to the value John Doe. This index called age is assigned to the number 18. Alright, so if we're going to display the value, instead of using the index as numbers, we use the string, let's say name. So refresh it, then you'll see the text here, channel. So next, so we're not gonna cover most of the we're just gonna cover a little bit of the topics here before moving forward. So next is we're going to use objects. So in PHP we can create objects as well. Let's say class, let's say person, and this person has a method called say a function, let's say name, and then let's say return Jane Doe. So right now we have object called person, and it has a method of name, and maybe let's add a property. Let's say public $age equals to 20. And for us to create a reference to this object, let's create a variable called person equals new person. Right, so let's try to refresh it. Okay, so far so good, no error. So what we have it here, we created a variable that is a reference to the person object. So let's try displaying some properties. Let's say echo. Then we use here the arrow key, or the access modifier. So let's say age. So you'll see that there is no $sign here anymore. Although we have here the age has a $sign here, but in PHP when we are going to access a property, so the dollar sign is omitted. Okay, so let's try. So there you go. We displayed a 20 here. So maybe let's make it at least presentable. So let's say my age is, and then we close it with curly brace. So meaning these curly brace will interpolate the value of this object. Okay, so let's display it again. Oops. So maybe let's add a paragraph here. There you go. So my age is 20. So as you can see here, when we need to interpolate a certain object or array, we need to use the curly braces. But if we're just using a normal variable, let's say $x, so we could just that like this. So another age is $x. So we just directly added the variable in between the double quote here or in the echo statement. So let's refresh it, and you'll see another this update here. So we have inserted the value of the variable x. So right now, as you can see, PHP has two types of string. So it can use single quote or double quote. So the difference between single quote and double quote is that single quotes cannot interpolate variables, while double quote can interpolate variables. So interpolate meaning expand. This will expand. This value will be expand to whatever value it has. So if we're going to use single quote, then you'll see this. So as you can see, it displayed the actual code or the actual string. That is because single quote does not support variable interpolation. So it just basically printed whatever string here or text inside the single quote. While the double quote, of course, it will interpolate variables or values inside the string, as long as we like for example added here the dollar sign, or we enclosed it with a curly brace. So refresh it again. So as you can see, the values have expanded or interpolated. Instead of displaying the variable or the object, it interpolated the value. All right. So far, that's just a recap of our PHP. So the rest will be discussed in relation to these frameworks. So just to give you a glimpse, so CodeIgniter is a framework. So meaning it has its own libraries where you don't have to create a website from scratch. So it has these APIs and libraries available for you to take advantage or use. Oh, also I forgot, we are also going to use Bootstrap, and I forgot the other one. It's also a CSS framework. Sorry, we have here jQuery. It's also a JavaScript framework. What else? Let me check. I forgot the name. It was created by Google. um, let me I forgot to I forgot the name. It's in the tip of my tongue already. Oh my god. So Tailwind, no, not this. So although there's a lot of CSS frameworks available, so it's up for you to use or explore. Materialize. Oh my god. So this is Materialize. I forgot the name. So Materialize CSS. Alright, so hopefully we could cover this, and it will be useful when you are going to develop I call that enterprise level website. So for now, let's just end this video, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. So goodbye.